Broadcasting from Slough. Streaming around the world.
This is Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio. Oh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
The podcast.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Hello, welcome to episode 123 of the Best Bits podcast. Another weekend, another lockdown weekend, but at least we now know how many of them there are if everything goes according to plan. That's the essential bit there, isn't it? June 21st, at the very, very earliest, we could see the restrictions removed. And I have beef with that. I don't see why it couldn't have been June the 18th, so we could have had a bank holiday weekend, the VC Day holiday, as I am calling it. We should have had Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and then a bank holiday on Monday. Would have made a lot of sense to me. This week in the podcast, unexpected COVID side effects, anger, not fan mail, crowdfunding, worst road users, and cooking. All that and more is on the way in this week's podcast. Settle back, enjoy, get yourself a cuppa, and here it comes.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Morning, this is Mark Denholm with you, live, loud and proud, and standing out from the crowd. One of the knock-on effects, apparently, of coronavirus, a wife has found that her husband lost his libido and didn't touch me for weeks. This happened after he lost his job due to COVID, saying a natural testosterone supplement has helped reignite their fun life, shall we say. I have to say, I've not seen that on any of the official symptoms or side effects of coronavirus as yet, but apparently it is one of them. So if you do get coronavirus, be very, very careful.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
This morning we are talking about things that make you angry. All right, on air at atomradio.co.uk. That is my email address this morning. If you would like to get involved, things that make you angry. Okay, Sarah says, I totally agree with you. People who don't say thank you when you hold the door open, it really, really annoys me, and I will call them out for it. Fair play. Do you know what I do as well? If I hold the door open for someone and they don't say thank you, I will say, oh, you're welcome. Definitely. I will say, oh, you're welcome. Morning, Mick. Mick says, Marky, I got an early start today and I thought I'd go and treat myself to breakfast before then realising I just had to sit in the van anyway and eat my breakfast. So I loaded up the van super quick, got an early start out and about and didn't really get anywhere at all because I ended up just sitting in the van having breakfast. So I could just have taken breakfast as usual with me this morning. Mick does also go on to say, I hate it when people give away football scores. Like, you know, when you've recorded a game and then somebody will text you and they'll give you the result or whatever. I really, really hate that. I can imagine that would be quite annoying. I'm not really a football fan, but yeah, I get that would be annoying. Mick.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
I'm asking you, therefore, today to email me on air at atomradio.co.uk with things that make you angry. Diane has done just that. Bad drivers makes me really angry, and I think the number of them is going up. Even though we're in lockdown, it seems that all of the good drivers don't have any essential journeys to make, and therefore the road is just full of bad drivers who believe that they have essential journeys to make, and it really, really annoys me. It's not so bad while the roads are quieter, but when the roads are busy, the number of bad drivers and their bad driving really, really does make me angry while I'm trying to get to work in the morning. Although working from home, not really a problem. We don't have any bad drivers on the hallway, so we're okay at home.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Yesterday, I was talking to a friend. Now, Kerry is always at the Bees games. However, obviously being played behind closed doors, she isn't. And she was just asking me what it was like being there yesterday, obviously, in a very attendance-limited capacity. And then we got to talking about sleeping and that. And she said that she goes to bed about 2 a.m. and wakes up at 11 and feels rough for it all day long. I told her I go to bed probably about 1, get to sleep about 1:30, and I am up of a morning by 20 to 6 and on the radio by 6. So there's no time for feeling rough of a morning for me. It just would not work for me at all. I can't imagine what it's like, though, to have 9 hours sleep. Wow.
Mark Denholm.
Morning. This is Mark Denholm at breakfast. Coming up 4:27 on Tuesday morning. I asked yesterday about the lockdown and how any of it makes sense. Like bubbling 30 children in a classroom. How does that make sense when you cannot have one other person in your house? How's it safe to bubble 30 children? And I asked that yesterday on Twitter. And although a lot of people liked it and retweeted it, nobody answered it. I think that in itself proves the point.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
I must say good morning to DJ Fitboy. B-O-I. You've spelt boy wrong. Anyway, why am I saying that? Because DJ Fitboy, who spelt boy wrong, has emailed me, and I'll read it to you. Firstly, right, we'll start with DJ Fitboy that spelt wrong. Secondly, we'll move on to the subject. Yo, I'm not some wannabe gangster. And thirdly, let's move on to the actual email. Man, how much do you love the sound of your own voice? Shut up, who cares when people go back to school? Shut up and play more tunes. Right, where shall we start on this then? Firstly, obviously, the fact that you can't spell boy, it's not a difficult word, it's only 3 letters and my 5-year-old can manage that, so we'll leave it there. Secondly, let's just move on to the content of your email. How much do I love the sound of my own voice? Not a massive amount, to be fair, but it's earned me a living since I was 16, so I guess it's all right. The NHS love it. They use it for voiceover. The Samaritans love it. They use it for voiceover. Let me see. Slough Borough Council, Royal Borough of Windsor and Maidenhead Council, they love it. They use it for voiceover, along with others around the world as well. But other than that, not really a problem. Obviously, if it offends you that much, DJ Fitboy, then ask your mum and dad to help you to find something else to listen to. Tots TV may very well be on right now.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Morning. Hello. It's Tuesday. We're talking this morning about the most blatant waste of crowdfunding that you've come across. It comes because yesterday I got sent a link to a crowdfunding site, which is basically a lady who's 18 asking you to donate $2,500 to pay her rent, food and monthly bills. Now, this has been pulled off of crowdfunding now, but I did have it in my browser still, so I just thought I'll leave the tab open. Anyway, this has been pulled off of crowdfunding. I don't know whether the lady who posted it actually pulled it or whether it's been pulled by GoFundMe because it's not really a valid fundraising thing. I don't know. She expects you to pay expected, I guess I should say, you to pay $2,500 towards her rent, food and bills. Kirsty says, I put my hands up, Mark, when I was 19. I did a crowdfunding because I wanted hair extensions and I couldn't afford them. Didn't work though. And when I look back now, it's pretty cringeworthy. I'm 23 now and I look back and I think, I can't believe I did that, but I don't mind sharing it.
Mark Denholm.
Marcus Rashford and Greta Thunberg have both been awarded the coveted Gold Blue Peter badge. I'm sure, in his multi-million-pound career, Marcus Rashford will be well chuffed at getting a coveted Gold Blue Peter badge. Who wouldn't? I don't have one. Am I envious? No, I'm all right.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Email from Tash this morning talking about stereotypically the worst car drivers. I think Tash may have nailed it early on. Tash says the worst people on the roads are generally those on bicycles who have no idea about the rules or no intention to follow them, and pedestrians who just step out in front of you thinking they are immune to danger.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Talking today about drivers of which type of car are stereotypically likely to be the worst on the road in your opinion. Liam sends me an email. Where shall I start with this? Now, Nick said Audi drivers. Suzanne said anyone with a 4x4 who doesn't actually go off-road. Kelly said BMW drivers. And Greg said VW. Nige said Mercedes. But Tasha was first out the blocks today and said, I think anyone on a bike or on foot is probably worse than anybody in any car. Liam then sends a very long email. Morning, Liam. Thank you for your email to onair@atomradio.co.uk. Mark, I agree with Tasha. I don't think any car driver is as bad as cyclists or pedestrians. And the reason is accountability. As a car driver, you have to have a driving license. Your car has to have a registration number and it has to be MOT'd and taxed as well. There is plenty of accountability there, meaning that if you do something wrong, then you are likely to get caught because your car has a registration number. You have, the owner of that car is then responsible for that car, and you have a driving license as well, which you can lose for driving badly. Cyclists, however, have absolutely no accountability. How many times have you seen someone in Lycra just run a red light because they want to? How many times have you seen young people riding along, peering round the person they've got perched on their handlebars? Why? Because there's no accountability. They can get away with whatever they want, and therefore they do. So I agree with Tash. The most dangerous people on the road are those with no accountability. The cyclists, and indeed the pedestrians as well, who just cross where they want and all that sort of stuff. Way worse than any car driver, and it's because there's no accountability. Now, Liam goes on to say, you can't regulate pedestrians as such, but for what reason do bikes not have to be identifiable? Therefore, owners could be held accountable when they run red lights. We have red light traffic cameras, which get cars when they run red lights. So what about bikes when they run red lights? They need to have some form of registration scheme and possibly insurance as well if they want to use the same road surface.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Natalie comes at this from a totally different angle and says drivers of old bangers are usually quite bad because their cars are old and worth nothing, therefore they don't really care about their car in any way whatsoever and seem to drive as if they assume people who have newer, more valuable cars don't care about theirs either.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Friday, 26th of February, National Pistachio Day today. That's nuts. National Tell a Fairy Tale Day today. That's probably how liars justify their existence. And it's also Skip the Straw Day today. I must find out what that is, by the way. I'm imagining trying to take a McDonald's milkshake, for example, without the straw. And that's actually what it is, by the way. That's actually what it is. But to be fair, if you've ever tried one of those new eco-friendly straws, they're rubbish anyway, and they're of no use. You cannot do a whole milkshake before your straw collapses.
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Atom Radio.
Right, come dine with me is what we're talking about today. If you were going on the show, what would you cook as your main course? Now, I'm not talking about the starter. I'm not talking about the dessert. And me, as a very, very, very fussy eater, I would probably struggle, if I'm honest, because I wouldn't want to cook something that I wouldn't eat just to impress. But then I know that if I cooked something that I would eat, it wouldn't really be that impressive because of how fussy I am. But then, an email from Joe. Joe says, years and years ago, Channel 4 were looking for contestants from Slough. I know this because you sent me the email. I remember this. You sent me the email saying that I should apply for it, and I did, and I never ever heard from them. So I would genuinely tell them to get stuffed and cook nothing. Aha, get your own back, eh, Joe?
Mark Denholm on Atom Radio.
Now, earlier on, Nadine said I would do steak and homemade chips, and I love steak and homemade chips. As long as you're going to do the steak medium rare, then I'm happy with that. And I said, can I get an invite? Now, Nige has emailed in, and Nige says, I'm surprised people don't just do a barbecue. Like, if they go for a summer one, why not just do a barbecue? You can be a bit relaxed. You can just fire up the barbecue. A few burgers, few sausages, some chicken, maybe a jacket potato, maybe some beans, and you are in business. And then people can just sit outside if it's a nice day, which you'd have to hope for, and have a barbecue and a beer and be so relaxed. Nige, can I get an invite round yours as well? Like maybe if I do, say, dinner at Nadine's with the steak and chips, and then perhaps at a weekend, I could come round yours. Obviously, once all of this coronavirus shizzle is over.
atomradio.co.uk.
And another podcast completes. The best bits of Drive Time this week. Thank you very much for checking it out. Do you know what? Like, I still don't know what I would cook if I was going on Come Dine With Me, but I am just hoping that I do get an invite somewhere, because some of them were quite tasty, and I'd be quite happy with that. I do like a bit of food every now and then. Crowdfunding. What about that lady, eh? Can you just pay my rent and my food and my bills for 3 months? That's just absolutely taking the mick, isn't it? But that is what the world has come to. You know, there are some great charity collections on GoFundMe, some fantastic collections. And then there are people like that. And I'm still not going to say her name. I do know her name, but I'm not going to say it. It's like it wouldn't really achieve anything. Thank you for checking out the best bits of Drive Time podcast. You can subscribe in your favourite podcast app. You'll find all the links on markdenham.com.
Atom Radio. Ooh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
Monday morning, 6 a.m, back on the show. Make sure you're there, atomradio.co.uk, and many other listening platforms as well.
Yeah.
Atom Radio.
Atom Radio.